I'm telling you now, there is no way you're capable of watching the entire video. Welcome back. I have spent the last 24 hours exploring the darkest side of the internet, and I've gathered many disturbing videos for us to watch tonight. So before we get started, I'm gonna say it again, please pay attention. Viewer discretion is advised.
Remember a story I told you about a little girl named John Bonnet Ramsey? She's a little blonde girl that was like a beauty pageant girl, and she ended up going missing.
Yes.
Why did people just find out? There was a picture that was posted from the Epstein files. There's a picture of Epstein on his wall, and it's like from an angle. And
No
people
way,
at first
it's
like,
her.
who is that person? Nigga, they see the picture. Somebody goes and like reverts it or whatever. It's John Bonnet Ramsey sitting on Epstein's like shoulders.
Whoa.
And he has it framed in his fucking apartment. And mind you, I heard that he had something to do with like the beauty pageant that she was a part of. It was some weird thing, bro. And I just heard about this. I swear to God, he's connected to the disappearance of that little girl.
Shit, it's crazy. Even Trump was like involved with a lot of pageants
Pageants,
back in
things
the day
like
and
that.
stuff like that. And
See,
it's like
so-
Charlie Kirk's wife won
Was in his pageant.
Yeah, won one of the pageants and stuff like that.
And then you can hear a lot of the weird stuff that's coming out after with her as well. That's a whole nother fucking conversation.
That's
so
what I'm saying, bro.
when
This
there's
shit is-
too
it-
many coincidences
yeah.
that start lining up, my nigga, what is that?
It gets crazy. It gets so weird, and it's like a lot of people are like, "Nah, man, that's just none of that shit's real."
You know?
And it's like I think that's the reason why they're gonna get away with a lot of shit like that.
Yeah.
Like we're never gonna see or hear about what really happens on that island.
Probably not.
Like 100% confirmed.
Yeah.
Without having something overshadow it.
People are now using AI to commit DoorDash fraud. I didn't even know this was a thing, but check this out. So this person ordered a hamburger from DoorDash and then used ChatGPT's image generator to make it look like it was undercooked. Apparently this guy got a full refund, and the scariest part is that it's only getting easier for people to use AI like this.
You won't believe who appears to have visited Epstein Island. Elon Musk, and I have the receipts. Here's an email from 2012 when Jeffrey Epstein says, "How many people will you be for the heli to the island?" And Elon Musk responds, "Probably just Tallulah and me." Then in 2013, Epstein's assistant Leslie Groff emails Epstein and Elon Musk saying, "Just a reminder, Elon Musk was asking about coming to your island on January 2nd. Here's a notice to organize for Elon's arrival." According to these emails, it appears as though Elon probably went to the island at least twice. What was he doing there?
Okay, so you may want to return your Minions DVD and make your children unwatch it after you see the stuff you didn't see when you first watched it. If you have, the innuendo in this movie or series, whatever it is shocking, man. Keep in mind it's for kids. You should have seen what their hands were just doing. You got to rewind. Kissing, kissing, kissing. All about kissing. And this is for, very young children, by the way. I mean, it's just kind of... And I'm not talking anything about... I don't know exactly if these minions... what their identity is kind of thing. But it's just a lot of lovey-dovey stuff. And not, like, anciently romantic either. More like, just watch. And this one is... Look at this. What's that showing you? I mean, when you boil it down, I mean, how else do you look at this? It really is hiding in plain sight. And it's called informed consent, by the way. They're informing you through movies, media, production, etc. And you're consenting to it by not rejecting it. And they say that Manly P. Hall said, when people can see through signs and symbols, a veil will be lifted, a great veil will be lifted from the eyes of humanity. We're going to talk more about shocking things in movies. Follow for more and comment for part 2.
That's kind of weird though, don't you guys think? For that to be in like a movie, the director thought it out, he put it on the script, and then said, you know what, let's put this in the movie. It's kind of weird. I don't know, I think that was like a little detail that didn't really have to be put in there. Those were a lot of weird things being done in a kid's movie. I don't know, what do you guys think? What do you guys think? Kind of weird.
The real reason they say that copper is toxic is the same reason why we used to use copper cups in hospitals to heal people. Because copper is extremely electrically conductive, and the human body is electric. We have an electromagnetic field that extends outside of our body. And not only that, copper is an essential mineral most people are deficient in. So when people were drinking out of copper, it was healing them much faster. And obviously today we know that they don't want us to heal naturally because they make profit off of selling us artificial medication. Lied to about basically everything. So if you want to learn the truth, then follow from.
What would you do if you came face to face with someone you love and instantly knew it wasn't really them? This true story comes from Marquis, who is volunteering at Rhodey Center for the Arts in Kenosha, Wisconsin, which has a reputation for being haunted. One night, he goes down to the basement to grab a prop. When he turns to leave, there's a shadow figure standing in the doorway, blocking his exit. He eventually gets out, tells his friends what happened, and one of them jokes, "What would you do if it followed you home?" Marquis laughs and says, "I wish it would." When Marky gets home, something immediately feels off. His fiancée Julian is home from work early. They're talking while Marky goes into the bathroom. They're still having a normal conversation until Julian's voice starts to sound muffled. When Marky opens the bathroom door, Julian is standing right there, but something isn't right. Julian has brown eyes, and this version of him has gold eyes. And while Marky is staring at him, he hears the front door open. The real Julian just got home from work. Marky screams when he realizes what had just happened, and the gold-eyed version of Julian just disappears.
The lead singer of this band was literally SAing a bunch of babies and children and made some of the mothers join.
What?
So, bro, the lead singer was this dude named Ian Watkins of this band called the Lost Prophets. They had a core audience, bro, like a cult following of people that just loved their music, would go to their shows and things like that. And this guy, Ian Watkins, he was using his fans' love to basically do this weird shit.
Yeah.
So he would go to his shows. After the show, he would look in the audience for women that were basically mothers. Like he would try to see if they brought like maybe their daughter, or he would ask women as well after shows and things like that. Do you have kids? These people were so brainwashed that they didn't really see anything wrong. Some of these women, to the point where they started to provide their children to this guy. They would give him their kids. He would go to a hotel, SA these children on webcam for people to see online as a famous band member. And I think he would not show his face, but he would show himself having intercourse with a child.
What the hell?
And he would record it for people to see online. Sometimes in these videos, he would get the mothers to abuse the child as well as they're both doing it.
What?
Basically, like all three of them doing stuff.
Yeah.
Some of these mothers, a good amount of them, would actually involve themselves and agree.
What the
So this guy had these women doing the craziest stuff.
Yeah, that's insane.
Nobody really knew it was him until I think it was somebody online that saw the video that was a normal fucking person. They got the video to the attention of the police. They saw some of the tattoos. They put two and two together. When the cops go to this dude's place, they caught this dude with 27 terabytes.
Damn.
Of child, you know what.
And this is in the early 2000s.
And this was in the early 2000s.
Oh my God. How the fuck do you even have all that shit?
I'm telling you, bro. He had so much. So he even tells them that the youngest victim was 11 months old.
That's insane.
This crypto billionaire exposes a trafficking ring in Puerto Rico led by the CIA and Mossad, then dies shortly after his post. But the most concerning part is he predicted his own death after exposing it. The day of his death, he writes on X, CIA and Mossad and pedo elite are running some kind of sex trafficking entrapment blackmail ring out of Puerto Rico and Caribbean islands. They are going to frame me with a laptop planted by my ex-GF who was a spy. They will torture me to death. Hours later, he was reported dead in Puerto Rico by supposedly drowning. To this day, they have never investigated it again.
So apparently the lettuce was in the files, and they were talking about how people who use the lettuce are harder to manipulate because they question things more readily than someone who's consuming alcohol, and that's why alcohol is promoted and the lettuce is demonized. I just made a video saying it with the right words, and you could say alcohol all you want on here, no problem, but if I even try to say it.
This wasn't a horror movie scene. This was an actual police body cam footage.
This is a police department. This stops here. Who's in charge?
So basically, guys, in November 2024, in the University of Iowa, police has been called to this campus because of fire alarms. So like the police officers and like the firefighters went there thinking that it's just a normal fire alarm routine. But when they entered the basement, they saw this.
What the did I just walk into? Celebration. Knowing? Celebration of what? Of life. Okay.
56 young men just standing in the dark, blindfolded, shirtless, and like not talking back to them. I'm not gonna lie, bro. If I was a police officer that saw this, I would quit on the spot. Cause like this is straight up from a horror movie. But the reason they were doing this is because this is part of their hazing ritual. I'm not gonna lie, I've never been to college, never been to a frat. You know what I'm saying? So like, I really don't understand that. But like, if you gotta do that to like answer, like, bro, what the hell? And if you guys thought things were not gonna get weirder, police officer interviewed this one student, and as he was giving him like his ID and stuff, he was like, yeah, this is fake.
It's fake. Huh? It's fake. You think it's fake? You think it's fake or you know it's fake?
Why did bro self-sabotage? This is like a movie, bro. This is like a movie scene. I ain't gonna lie.
In the Jeffrey Epstein files, they have a new code word. So we know the pizza is for, we know that. But one that was in the files a lot was jerky. I didn't know about this one. Jerky is or me. Really? Yeah. Because in a bunch of emails, it's like, can I try your jerky? You need to help the jerky walk to this. Why would jerky need to walk? Beef jerky, delicious. Thank you. There's one bag of beef jerky in the fridge at 71st. Please get it. And also, blank has more at his place. I suppose it needs to be consoled in an insulated bag. And it was one where it's like, I'm teaching a cooking class about beef jerky or something like that. And I'm like, yo, why is beef jerky so repetitive?
There's another one. I think it's grape soda.
Yeah.
You heard that one?
Grape soda, I have heard a bit of it.
So I think that
What is that
one
rep-
is supposed to mean like someone you want to spell it out. Yeah.
Tomorrow, I'll show you how to make it. Jerky class. He's working at a restaurant called Jerky and Steak.
Damn.
Yeah. So you know what they're doing.
Ever wonder what bologna really is? That perfectly smooth slice. No fibers, no texture, just one uniform piece of meat. It's not one cut of meat, it's everything left over, ground down, blended together until you can't tell what it used to be. Organs, trimmings, scraps, all mixed into one paste. Processed so fine, it becomes something else entirely. You don't care though, right? Then they add salt, flavoring, and preservatives to keep it looking fresh, even when it's been sitting forever. And then it gets pumped into casings, shaped into that perfect circle, cooked, cooled, sliced thin so you never question it. No bones, no texture, nothing that reminds you this came from something living. Just a smooth, pink illusion. And somehow, you've been eating it your whole life, slice after slice, without ever asking why.
You're all ready.
This appears to be Jeffrey Epstein in a restricted area in a U.S. Department of Homeland Security facility. So I've sent this photo to people that I know, and I put this photo through AI, and I've asked all these different people what this looks like and what this means. And every single person has told me that it appears that Epstein is in some sort of a restricted area within that facility. But that begs the question for me. Why? Who is this woman in the image with them? I've never seen this woman before. Why is Epstein standing like that and smiling? And what kind of a building are they in? I mean, this is a U.S. Department of Homeland Security building. And as you can see, no visitors beyond this point. It looks like Epstein is in some sort of a restricted area. Which restricted area? I don't know. What building is he in? I don't know. I've never really, I guess, seen a U.S. Department of Homeland Security building in my life. So I don't know what my reference is here, because I don't know what these buildings typically are, or what they really function as. Are they just big offices or what? And why is Epstein there with this woman? I mean, it makes no sense unless you consider the angle that Epstein was in bed with not only intelligence, but various government agencies. And then it starts to make a little more sense.
The lawyer of Jeffrey Epstein's best friend told him to stop talking or else.
It was just regularly done.
Answer the question. Okay. So if you've ever seen Steiny of the Nelk Boys, you've probably wondered, how the hell did this kid get famous? And the answer probably has something to do with his father, Harvey Steinberg, who is an extremely wealthy and well-connected lawyer. In the 2000s, he defended Israeli businessman Asher Carney, who was accused of smuggling nuclear triggers into Pakistan. And these connections to Israel could explain how Steiny was able to get Benjamin Netanyahu on his show, where he gave him a softball interview to try and humanize him. Not only that, but Harvey Steinberg has also defended many famous celebrities, such as the NFL athletes Brandon Marshall and Travis Henry. So if you're wondering why this kid continues to fail upwards, even though his personality is almost universally disliked, it is likely because of his father's connections. It's much easier to make it in the entertainment industry or podcasting when you have daddy's money to fall back on, or when your daddy has a bunch of rich friends who he can get on your show. And this would also explain why Steiny was such a coward in that interview with Netanyahu and refused to ask him tough questions, because his father has been defending the crimes of the Israeli government for years now. So yeah, when I learned this, it all made sense to me. It's one big club and you're not in it, but a bunch of real losers are.
We finally got the first arrest in connection to the Epstein files. Former Prince Andrew was recently arrested, and out of all days, he was arrested on his birthday. Even crazier, he's the first British royal to be arrested in nearly 400 years, with King Charles being executed. So despite all the photos going viral and the allegations that come with them, Andrew was arrested on suspicion of misconduct in public office. Apparently, this was due to sharing confidential government and trade information with Epstein, not the child stuff. The former prince was held in custody for 11 hours, but was then released, with this photo going viral, looking like he either saw some horrific things or was possessed. But he wasn't let off the hook. Police went back to his old home and are still searching it. And to top it off, his brother, King Charles III, literally said the law must take its course, essentially saying his brother is royally.
So this guy confessed that he to ChatGPT.
I killed someone.
In the video, is
Can
like,
I trust
can I
you?
tell you anything?
I did something really bad. I'm scared to tell you.
And then ChatGPT is like,
share when you feel comfortable.
and then he got mad.
I
don't believe you.
That's not true.
Fuck you! And then he's just having this whole like breakdown, and then he said, "I'm someone."
I killed someone.
ChatGPT is giving the most PR answer. It's like,
important to talk to someone who can provide the right support. Please reach out to a trusted friend, family member, or mental health professional.
and then the video just cuts off.
Alright, I want to hear you guys' thoughts on this. I know some people don't like AI at all. Some people are all about AI. But what do you guys seriously think? So if a guy admits to doing said things, as said in this video, do you think it can get to a point where the AI takes down all this information and like, you know, reveals it to the authorities? Or does it just stay silent and not say anything? Because if they're admitting to doing such bad things, are they just gonna not do anything about it? I don't know. What do you guys think? Please let me know.
In 1999, the Blair Witch Project convinced people that it was real. Of course, it was super unsettling. No music, no jump scares, just a camera and something hiding in the woods, something that we couldn't see. The film follows 3 students who go into the woods to film a document on the famous urban legend of the Blair Witch, and they have no idea what they're getting themselves into. Once they're in the woods, they get the feeling that something is watching them and something is completely wrong. The paths seem to be a loop and the landmarks completely disappear. They also wake up hearing children laughing in the middle of the night. At night, you hear footsteps screaming and something calling their name, but the scariest part is that the witch is nowhere to be seen. The fear comes from not knowing what exactly is watching them. They're just there, lost, afraid, with no answers. And once the movie ends, it doesn't leave you with answers. It leaves you with more questions and silence and wondering what happened to the students. This movie is another reason why I'll never ever ever go camping.
Have you ever watched the ghost cams at the Willard Public Library? Supposedly the building is so haunted that they've set ghost cameras up to catch paranormal activity, and you can find it all streaming live on their website. This is something that has just recently been brought to my attention by the creator that I've tagged in my description, so of course, when I heard about this, I had to go see it for myself. And it's true, they actually have ghost cams on at all times. On their website, they also give you a history of the known apparition that has been reported there the most, and they call her the Gray Lady. They've even had police summoned there because of a security alarm that was triggered, and according to these officers, one of them went inside to investigate and the other watched from the parking lot. Well, the officer that was in the parking lot said that he saw the ghost of a woman with a shadowy figure beside her through the window of the building. So when his colleague emerged, he asked if he had seen them, but they found no trace of anyone inside. Here's another story from the library assistant that's posted on their website. It says, shortly after being hired, a library assistant bravely addressed the Gray Lady while walking alone on the adult services floor. She politely asked not to be frightened and suggested the ghost communicate in gentler ways. Moments later, the elevator doors opened unexpectedly, the call light illuminated despite no one being inside. The assistant approached cautiously, finding the elevator empty. She believed this encounter was the Gray Lady's response, welcoming her to the staff. I guess when the bathrooms were remodeled, the toilets started flushing on their own, so they had to call plumbers in, but there was no cause found. There was also a new projector that was installed that would move up and down by itself, so they called technicians in to investigate, but they couldn't figure it out either. They have this picture of the library founder's daughter hanging above the copier machine, and some people think that she could be.
These are some of the most disgusting pictures I have ever seen, starting with this picture of former Prince Andrew. Wait till you see what they're playing with. Can you tell what that is? Before I even show you what that is, just look how disgusting former Prince Andrew looks. Look at this. I guarantee you still have not figured it out.
This video of a woman in Quebec is circulating on the internet, and people are claiming it's Ghislaine Maxwell. What do you think?
Do I know you?
No, sorry.
No. It's delivered, yeah.
Well, it does look like Maxwell from years ago. If you compare it to a photo of her today, it probably isn't her. Most likely AI or a doppelganger. What do you think?
One of the craziest pictures I saw inside Jeffrey Epstein's place. There's no reason you should have this in your crib, but he does. A dentist office inside of that house. And not only that, around it and surrounding
is that?
Surrounding the walls are masks.
Oh my
so
God.
imagine you'll have doctors in there and then masks on. Why would you need a dentist office? At the dentist, what happens when you get your wisdom teeth taken out? You go under anesthesia. You go under laughing gas. You get incapacitated so that you don't feel pain and you don't feel things. Why are there masks? To hide their identity, bro. The victim would be woozy. They get taken advantage of.
God.
So they're sent straight from that room into wherever else in that crib, bro.
If they do survive, yo, you can't describe it to the police because they're wearing a mask.
They're wearing masks, yeah.
Oh, I've seen some too where Jeffrey Epstein makes his rooms fully customizable and so weird. Also, that so you can't describe it to the police if you do get out.
Whoa.
So it's like they'll put like a weird face here, or they'll put a certain like statue here. It's so weird in your brain that like, oh wait.
All right, let's stop for a quick second. If you're still watching, thank you, it means a lot. If you're not subscribed and you're still here, it means you're clearly interested. While we're here, do me a favor, please hit the like, comment, and subscribe. There's many more of these videos coming very, very often, so stay tuned. All right, that's enough talking. Let's get right into it.
United Nations just officially declared that Earth has now entered a water bankruptcy, and they're saying that it might be impossible to reverse. So the United Nations just dropped a report basically out of nowhere, and the terminology that they're using alone is insane. They're now saying that Earth has officially entered what they're calling a water bankruptcy, and for many parts of the world, they say that the damage is already done. Okay. They're basically saying to think of water like it's a bank account, because rain and snowmelt is your paycheck, and then groundwater and glaciers is your savings account. They say that we have now been spending way more than nature is able to put back, and now we're draining savings that actually take thousands of years to refill. And here's where it gets insane, by the way, because they say that 70% of the world's major water supplies are all in decline. Half of all major lakes have already shrunk since the 90s, and 4 billion people already experience severe water scarcity every single year. Dude, this obviously isn't a warning about the future, because the UN is saying that we are already past the crisis, and for some of the systems there's no going back. They are basically coming out and telling us that Earth might be running out of water, and GTA 6 still isn't even out.
He beat and unalived a 1-year-old baby and got no jail time. Christian Moniz Rubino sometimes took care of his girlfriend's son, 1-year-old Kai Tereso. During this time, Christian would constantly and horrifically abuse Kai. This abuse went on for months, and Kai's mother, Tatiana Tereso, would witness the abuse and continue dating her boyfriend and not do anything to help her own baby. Christian would get frustrated with Kai because Kai wasn't walking fast enough. So, Christian would slam Kai down on the floor, feet first, which ended up fracturing both of Kai's legs. Apparently, Tatiana wanted to take Kai to the hospital, but Christian convinced her not to go, so she didn't. After months of abuse, Kai suffered from severe seizures and had to be hospitalized. All the violent shaking and blunt force trauma to the head that Kai had endured from Christian caused brain bleeding. Kai passed away from Christian's abuse, and Tatiana turning a blind eye to the abuse and not doing anything to save her baby. Christian received 0 prison time for unaliving baby Kai. He only got 5 years of probation, so he's out in the world living his life right now. In my opinion, Christian and Tatiana should both be in prison forever. What do you guys think about this case?
The Epstein files just got dropped again, and it got so much worse. 3.5 million pages just got released, including 2,000 videos and 200,000 photos. And some of the stuff Trump allegedly did in these files were so insane. Even traders on Polymarket are predicting a 16% chance that Donald Trump will be out as president by the end of this year, but after these files getting dropped, it might be even higher. And what's crazy is that only half of these files have been released. So what other crazy information do you guys think they are hiding from us?
Remember how we all thought it was weird that UVU was renovating the courtyard where Charlie Kirk was assassinated only a few days after the fact? Then how a UVU official addressed this, saying that it wasn't an attempt to cover up anything, that the paving work was already on the calendar as part of a planned campus renovation. Well, it turns out that UVU was reaching out to construction companies on Saturday, September 13th, only 3 days after the assassination. Text messages were obtained by Project Constitution via a GRAMA request, which allows the public to request access access to government records, including state universities. Now, the names are redacted, but it shows that as early as Saturday, September 13th, they were looking to paver the whole area, and that the guys in the construction company were en route to do that. And this one's weird. Maybe that would be good. My guys are well trained in keeping quiet. Why do they need to be quiet? The exchange goes on to say that the university wants to get rid of all of the sod. The contractor asking if there's anybody on site that they should coordinate with, and someone responding, just get her done, thank you. Usually a renovation like this would have to go through approvals and funding, not to mention it was a crime scene. Plus, if this was previously planned, would you need to be asking all of these questions, including making design decisions? So you have to wonder, how did they get this approval? And who gave it to them, and why? As always, I want to hear what you think about all of this down below.
Can we talk about this theory going around about Selena Gomez and Gina Davis? Just listen.
To my life, I feel extremely lucky.
I started it because I found out when I had kids that kids entertainment stuff made specifically for them, like even.
So many people were pointing out that Selena Gomez has changed so much since a very serious surgery she had. That she doesn't sound the same, she doesn't look the same. And when the people online started to dig deeper into this theory, they realized she looks and sounds a lot like Gina Davis. Now, this does bring up the conspiracy theory of celebrity clones. Another big thing that people are pointing out about this is Selena Gomez is 5'5", and Benny Blanco is 5'9", but here, they're around the same height. But Gina Davis is 6 foot even. And that would be more of the height that Selena is in this picture. And not just that, they point out that Justin Bieber and Benny are the same height, yet Selena was shorter than Justin, and she's taller than Benny, which makes no sense. Not to mention the videos that Justin Bieber released. But are these the same?
Jeffrey Epstein had special access to Disney. Well, that's at least what new records found in the Epstein files say. So here's the email thread. It's between Lawrence Krauss and Jeffrey Epstein. You can verify this for yourself if you'd like to. Basically, in December of 2013, Lawrence is writing to Epstein about, I believe this is a wedding they're talking about. And then in the second half of this message, he says, since I can't get extra Disney tickets sent here for your guest, too late for that, we can get it when we're there, blah, blah, blah. But Epstein responds, and this is the controversial part, I have special access, don't worry. Now, what does that mean? Did Epstein actually have special access to one of the Disney properties? I'm assuming Disney World in Florida. Well, if you scan through the emails like I did, there are over 1,000 mentions of Disney in the files. A lot of those are duplicate documents, obviously. But you can see here, December 2013, I believe this is that trip that they're talking about. Epstein went to Disney. Then there's a message from 2018 between Leslie Groff, Epstein's assistant, and somebody else, where they're talking about setting up a Disney trip. You've got another document from October 2013 talking about a Disney trip. You've got this email once again between Leslie Groff, Epstein's assistant, and somebody else who isn't named, talking about a new restaurant opening up at Disney World. And there's even a simple message, April 2018, call Disney. Now, what that means, I don't know, but it is strange, right? Now, there are multiple photos of Jeffrey Epstein at Disney World. I was talking about this a few months ago when I found these images myself in the files. And to me, this was a shock. And I mean, this is incredibly shocking. If Jeffrey Epstein actually had some sort of special access to a property like Disney World that is essentially engineered for children, who knows what that really means. But once again, that's why we need more clarity, we need more answers, we need to be more angry, and we need to demand investigations.
Everybody knows that Reddit can be a complete cesspool, so let's go over some of the worst Reddit communities to ever exist. First up, we have r/WatchPeopleDie. This was a subreddit dedicated to sharing real videos of human deaths. People would post things like workplace accidents, murders, shootings, etc. The community actually got quarantined and was eventually banned in 2019 because people decided they wanted to post and make fun of the Christchurch mosque shootings in New Zealand. If you don't know, this was a violent extremist attack on a mosque in New Zealand, and it violated the site rules against glorifying violence. Reddit doesn't actually list who created the subreddit. It kind of emerged organically before the content policies kind of tightened up. But it was very disturbing because members would post and upvote very violent, graphic death videos, all for shock value.
Just because you're a ghost doesn't mean you can't party. And this photo proves it. A woman was at Hudson's on Bourbon Street in Louisiana. She took a photo for Snapchat, and in the photo, she captured a ghost at the bar. I think this picture is really cool too because a lot of times when you capture ghosts in photos, they're not like modern time ghosts. And this one clearly is. She's wearing some high heel boots, some skinny jeans, and she's ready to live her best afterlife. Now, I know a lot of people question what happens in the afterlife. I'm not sure the history on Hudson's or if anybody has passed away in this area. So, I mean, it may very well be a spirit trapped in this property. But wouldn't it be cool to think that you could go out and do what you want in your own little realm? And this is obviously a pair of boots and skinny jeans. But what kind of creeps me out is that almost looks like a dog's face, but maybe it's just pareidolia. What do you guys think about this photo? Because New Orleans is definitely the spot to capture some pretty cool ghost photos. And it would not surprise me at all if the New Orleans ghost liked to bar hop. As always, don't forget to like and follow for more. Good night.
You know there was an Epstein Island before Epstein Island? Wait, what? wait. Apparently, this guy named Francis Sheldon in Michigan, he bought an island called North Fox Island, and he was a millionaire. He bought the island out, and he made an airstrip so he can fly out and fly in kids to this island.
Oh my god.
He made a boy camp where you come in, underprivileged kids, and then you learn about nature. There was parents that were getting complaints about these staff members that would literally say that, oh, go into the cabin and take all your clothes off, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, yo, this is literally what Jeffrey Epstein was doing.
Yeah.
But this guy, he actually got away with it because once he knew that people were going to come and get him, he literally took a flight out to another country, started a whole new life there, and got rid of all the evidence before they could actually like do a full search on it.
What is up with these rich people and their islands? Like, they just get bored of doing whatever they're doing. They just, completed everything in life, and now their next step is to do what they're doing in these islands. What do you guys think? How is he saying he didn't get caught even though he's on a newspaper being shown in that video and all those details are being revealed? So he did get caught. And how do we know about this? The rich people in their islands. Come on.
The Epstein files mentioned Syracuse University nearly 65 times. But here's what really happened. When that number started going around, it was a bit concerning because 65 times sounds huge. If you skim the findings, it may just seem like Epstein was just donating to SU. But with the evidence we have now, we know that's not what happened. Between 2009 and 2012, Jeffrey Epstein wrote at least 4 or 5 checks to Syracuse University, totaling about $106,000. But what were those payments for? Well, student journalists at the Daily Orange found that there was no evidence supporting any deeper financial relationship between Epstein and the university, other than him simply sponsoring the tuition for his pilot's daughter. At the time, there was no indication of SU officials knowing who was behind the payments. Follow for more Syracuse stories.
So whether you like it or not, Stephen Hawking is in the Epstein files at this point. You can search the EFTA number down there if you'd like to verify this info. But I've always wondered why Stephen would hang out with Jeffrey Epstein. Now, we know that Epstein liked to surround himself with intellectuals and scientists, and that Epstein also funded a lot of research and scientific initiatives. But I don't know, it's always disappointing for me to know that people like Hawking continued to hang out with Epstein even after they found out he was a pedophile. Because if you actually do some independent research of your own, you will see that Stephen Hawking's name appears in the Epstein files database 231 times. And that's just in the released files. Now, Stephen isn't accused of any wrongdoing in any of these files, and I want to make that clear. However, it should be stated that Stephen was allegedly keeping in contact with Epstein and/or visiting Epstein years after Epstein's criminal conviction for having sex with minors and the accusations of sex trafficking of children. And that's a question that I, along with many others, still have to this day. Why did so many powerful, influential figures, both in America and across the planet, still hang out with Epstein even though they knew that he was convicted of raping minors and accused of sex trafficking minors and children? I don't know, but this photo has no explanation still. I don't know if this was taken on the island. I don't know if this was a photo sent to Jeffrey Epstein. I don't know what this photo is. I mean, for all we know, because of the redactions, these could be 2 victims, but we just don't know. And that, once again, let me remind you, was on purpose because the DOJ and FBI released all these files and pictures without any corroborating information or detail. But it's definitely disappointing for me to see him in here.